All right, welcome back, everyone. So we're going to take a look at some of the ships now that the fact that the displays are static and they're actually got all of them out here. Let's take a look at them. So the Alpha Wolf is going to be the first up here because it's the first on the floor. The Salvation's also here, but I think that needs its own separate video. Now that it's out, might as well take a look at it and take it out for a spin later on. So up here first, we do have the L21 Wolf as well as its brother, the L22 Super Wolf at this point. I looked at SC Viewer. It looks like they're very similar, right? As far as movement is concerned. It's the laser repeaters, the size 4 bespoke guns. They're still size 4 hardpoints, so it'll be a size 4 bespoke laser repeater. But those laser repeaters look to be more like almost seem like attritions. Kind of an attritions type of NDB situation almost. Not NDBs, not that slow, but a bit faster though. So they're going to be pretty overpowered possibly and probably, tuned down, quote unquote, once it gets out of Warbond state or something, right? Once they're done selling it, then they'll tune it down back to where it should have been the whole time. So just be mindful of that. It's probably going to get nerfed based off the guns because the guns do look to be pretty good. I do like the back fin or the back part here compared to the original one. I wonder if they're doing that instead of the fin. So anyways, let's move on because we don't have much to go with off there. It's going to be a wolf with different guns on it. So that's more or less what it'll come out to be. It'd be cool if they sold the guns separately later on, and because you can kind of attach them, it's possible that you might be able to basically make those the same. Again, Salvation, that'll have its own separate video. We do have the RSI Perseus, which it's had its own walkarounds. Everyone's been covering it. It's come out, I think, really well. I think that's been a ship that is something that has been impressive, and so I'm looking forward to playing with that a bit more. I did try to get the Salvation onto the deck down there. It kind of fits, but not really. It's too long, honestly. So you'd have to kind of finagle it a bit to get it in there. The Misfortune's still there, so I know some people had kind of had some thoughts that possibly that misc, that a lot of the placards and stuff were left out intentionally, I think, to kind of misguide people, or to leave a little bit of mystery, right? So they do want to make it look, but there was no leaks indicating any kind of misc ship was coming. So far we know there probably won't be anything like that Fortune and the Meteor out there they'll stay there. So we're heading over to the Drake Hall, and it'll also include Grey Cat, so we'll be able to see the MDC as well. But the Ox and the Clipper are both here, so let's take a look at them. I was kind of surprised all of these are out, but they look pretty good. There's the first thing with the Ox I want to describe, so we'll take a look at that first. Is trying to determine how it'll differentiate itself for some of its competitors, right? So the Tractor will be a competitor because I see this as a Drake version of the Tractor, but obviously it's a big competitor against the Whole A, more so than I expected. I thought this would just hold 32 SUs, but now that it holds 64 like the Whole A, it's going to be a direct competitor to that, and it does have a tractor beam in the back. So here is a look at the tractor beam back here. Oh, it's hard to see from that angle. So here is the tractor beam right here. Sorry. So that is what you have to work with. Additionally, I was concerned about, can you just carry, maybe a 16 or a 32 SU box? But it has the grid similar to the one like the Argo Raft. So I think this can hold all versions, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. There's not a 12, 24, and the 32 and the 16 SU boxes. It should be able to carry all of these with the 64 SUs of cargo area. I know Trispone had set this up and did a video. It was kind of almost memey to have them side by side like that, but that's what they went with, and this is what the Ox turned out to be. You can't get in there and use it right now. The power plant is basically turned off, but you got a couple guns. The major differentiation between it and the Whole A is going to be the fact that the Whole A has an interior, but I mean, if this comes in significantly cheaper than the Whole A, and right now the Whole A is going to go up in price. They've already mentioned that, so it's hard to say where this will be priced at. I think it'll be higher than the Tractor, but I don't think it can necessarily be higher than the Whole A because it doesn't have an interior. So I think that's going to be fairly competitive and something that people will use as a mock Tractor, but in the Drake form. Possibly something that might fit very well. I mean, I'm sure this is something Trispone will look at with his Ironclad work, but possibly something that could be used as a Tractor built into the Ironclad as the Ironclad gets ready to come out. Real quick note here, the Star Kitten. So this is a paint that'll be on the referral. So you get this whole thing as the referrer. The referee gets a separate skin. They just get a Star Kitten suit, but the actual referrer, the person that's getting the referral, that was the base person for the referral, is going to get this particular paint and particular ship, right? So it is 10-year. It's not LTI, which I think is a bit disappointing. But anyways, here nor there, that's it. The Mole, I want just really quick, is if you kind of compare this size-wise, gosh, is that... Yeah, it's a bit thicker than the Mole too. So because again, that Ironclad has spots for the Mole, so it's or Mule. I keep saying the Mole, the Mule. So the Ironclad has spot for the Mule, and the Mule. I was hoping that possibly this could fit in that same spot in the bay there, but there's no way that's going to happen. So here we are with the Clipper. Interesting layout, and this is my second time I'm going to be walking through it. This front end is just a bit of a mess, but again, it's the command module, probably cut in half and with wings on it. The other thing that surprised me is these wings are different lengths. So this one is longer, and it looks like this either goes up and over, or like somehow this isn't like folded over. This is the top part of the wing here, so it either goes up then over, or somehow like widely kind of syncs up to this particular wing. But it is definitely longer than this one over here on this side, so it'll definitely have that Corsair type of feel where it's just going to be a shorter wing on one side than the other. Additionally, these are all size 3 racks here, and look to all be customizable, right? So we have one size 3 missile, 2 size 2s, and 4 size 1s. But because they're all size 3 racks, you could also just put 3 bombs on here if you wanted to. So for a total of 6 on each wing. You do have the Omni Sky here, the Omnipsky with the Gatlins here, and these are all changeable as well. So they're all size 3 hardpoints. So you have 4 size 3 guns, as we had discussed before. All right, so here's the lift, but there's also a nice ramp. So I think the ramp is pretty cool, and I definitely recommend people to come take a look at this ship. It looks fairly versatile. I definitely see it as like a really strong FPS type of ship. And so this is the 12 SCU of storage here. So you have a grid for 6, 3 by 2 with by 2 high, so 3 by 2 by 2. And you can get, 4 SCU boxes in here, 2s, 1s. You can get an 8 in here too. Of course, the 8 can go here. But nothing really bigger besides that. So you can take that lift, and I'll show you where that leads off at, but we'll take the ladder up. And that's just a little storage area. Under the chin there, it's a little wasted space, but I don't know what else you would do with it besides what it is now. So this is your kind of lower level engineering spot where you've got, battery, you have power plants. There's 2 power plants here. And so this is just your first level of engineering, but there's an actual drop down here. So if you wanted to come down here, you could do that. Head up this way. Squeeze, excuse me. So we have the medical area here. So there's a tier 3 bed here. I misunderstood this part to be a crafting table. It's not. It's just all medical in here. You got your tier 3 stuff. There's a little fridge down here. Nothing in it though. Oh, there's personal storage here too. So I did miss this originally. So there is a personal storage here. Let me start walking that way I don't run into people either. Storage here for use, but obviously I can't use it yet. So there'll be a couple spots for storage, and I'll show all of those if I can. Here's the crafting room. So you do have the hot surface table that I didn't originally see, but things will get printed out here. Will this be ready on day 1? I don't know. It seems quite possible because crafting hand tools I think is easily doable because they already have that tech and they've been using that in the ASD facilities for quite some time, a couple patches now. So can they bring that to a ship? I don't know. I guess we'll find out because I think printing guns and stuff is a possibility. The larger question is, can it print those little multi-tools and stuff? I think that's easy, and you don't even necessarily need a blueprint for that. That's going to be the next question is how do they do the blueprints, right? So definitely more to come and more to find there. I can see them holding this until engineering because we really need some blueprints in order for that to really work effectively. Here's the panel, I think, for this once it goes online. And then the rest of the stuff seems just kind of really cool. I don't think any of this stuff is necessarily storage. I can see how this would maybe need to put a 1 SCU box in here, to be honest. So I can see this popping open. You would put a 1 SCU box here, which I guess begs the question of how would that box get here? There was the ramp. You had to take the elevator up. So yeah, I think this fits a 1 SCU box here. I've committed to that. I think this opens up. You put, because otherwise, how do you get the necessary components that you would need in order to print whatever it is that you want to build? So if it doesn't fit a Western SCU box, then it's just meant as an area to look like it would be where things are stored. Maybe you use the boxes down below and it somehow pulls in those materials. Up here, this is the lift. This is what you would take to get up here. Again, if you want to put a box through here, you could. I don't know if a box would fit through here, to be honest, and then you could put the box here. Here's your first suit locker piece here, as well as the rack. So this is like the little mini armory that's built into the ship here. No storage here, but we'll see upstairs there's storage. So you do have the ladder to go up to the pilot area. Excuse me. So you have a couple seats here, which is nice. This will be ready for engineering. This is the kind of ship like a Terrapin. It'll just be a really fun ship to have. I don't think it'll be as tanky or as, I don't want to say useful. I think it'll be more useful, unfortunately, for the Terrapin, but it'll be more tanky. But one of the funnest ships I had with engineering was, in fact, the the Terrapin when I was out doing the engineering tech preview, and I think this is going to be a good example of that as well. For someone just soloing doing stuff, everything fairly accessible within a small range of area, this is going to be a pretty killer for all of that engineering stuff. Okay, pilot seat obviously up there. So here we maybe put a 1SU box or something here, but looks like we could put a poster. This doesn't say storage anywhere, so I don't know if this is a storage or not. These don't appear to say storage either, and then typically Drake has a storage down below, although I'm not really seeing that here. However, this here does say personal storage, so I suspect this opens up possibly as a bit of a locker like the Cutty Black does. It looks better, or it is a different look and feel. And then you can see here we have sinks, a little table. So again, meant for one person, but I like the layout. I like the vibe. I mean, I was just listening to Info Runners, and something Tomato was saying is Space Tomatoes. A lot of Star Citizen ships is about a vibe, and the interior stuff for this is a great vibe. It's leaking. That's awesome. The shower is leaking. All right, so just follow on with the whole vibe here. Profile is that's pretty cool. I definitely appreciate that. You can get the toilet put away. It's actually a decent little toilet combo. Yeah, so finally go back here to engineering, but so far I think the layout is a nice layout, like a 10. Obviously, just outside wise, it looks ugly, but it's just that's also the vibe of this ship. You're either into it or you're not. Couple shear generators, radar here. Again, all this stuff's on Urkel, so it's not a big surprise about what the components will be. It's just something that you'll have to get kind of used to and try out the different builds with it if you want to try out the different components. Thankfully, it doesn't appear to have a lot of bespoke stuff. Here you can close or open this area, but again, this is the top part of engineering, and then down below you can hop through here and get downstairs to do any repairs to power plant, stuff like that you might need to do. The quantum drive and stuff doesn't really show, so I wonder if one of these is technically the engine slash powered quantum drive. The engines weren't really usable as far as being repairable and stuff in the earlier build for TP, so we'll see how that all plays out. Anyways, oh, I am locked in here. That's fun. Am I really? No, okay. I'm in a glass case of emotion. All right, we'll take a look at, speaking of MTC, we'll take a look at or TP, we'll take a look at the MDC next. Wrap this up. Let's head over there now. So here is the MTC on the right here, which is the brother of the new ship, which is the MDC, which does have, it's like a technical vehicle with a PDC on the back. And oddly enough, of course, comes right on the heels of the PDCs all being nerfed. And this one somehow having the same DPS of pre-nerf. How convenient. It does have limited ammo, so it's probably some limitations on it based on that. Obviously, I could see people buying this just to have access to the PDC and then doing it, right? And then just doing the repair on it, pulling it off, sending it down. If that's what people want to do, that's fine. I think the ammo may be a bit too limited to do that because I believe it's a ballistic. I think it'll look cool. I look forward to trying it out. I don't know how much I'll actually keep it. I may keep a CCU for it and then maybe pick up the old MTC buyback and then attach this to it. We'll have to see. Relatively, I mean, this is too big, right? It'd be cool if this ship was like cut in half. Just from a size standpoint, but we have a bunch of components and stuff that have to fit in here. Here's the engineering terminal, and then just spot for one person, and then you've got, of course, the weapon racks here, and then fire extinguisher. So this is pretty well ready for engineering as well. Again, I like the look of it though. The paint is pretty good. I doubt this is the default. If this is the default paint, that's pretty cool. But because this is the default paint over here, so it's possible. I imagine this is probably a skin though. Same thing with the Ox over there. The Ox, I doubt that that's the default skin. Actually, let's see if we can go. Now, they won't have any posters. I think none of the posters have really changed. Oh, actually, there's one here. So let's see really quick if the Ox... No, this is for the cutter. Okay, so yeah. So it's hard to say if this is the default paint or not. It looks like that could be a bit of a skin. Anyways, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you all for checking out the video. Appreciate those taking time to like, subscribe. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.